I work for Eureka AI. I'm director of product engineering there. I take care of some of the product which helps customer, our client reach out to their customer in terms of the digital marketing campaigns. I have around 20 years experience, worked with multiple different companies. Um, this is my career path. I worked with many companies to handle many product in different companies. Okay, but my core, I worked with a lot of service company. I worked with a lot of large product companies. I work with startups. I'm currently with a tech startup, which is basically this is a Singapore-based startup in the digital marketing space. So I've handled the product in the different capacity, different capacity. My current team is around 20 folks. I have 3 product managers, 3 product architects, and around 9 to 8 product engineers, if I say so. I have so these I would say the formation of this team is almost like there around 50% of them are almost like an AI engineer or data scientists and all those things, and remaining are UI and data engineers. So I'm going to talk about some. So Ram has given me a good segue into my topic actually. So how to think about a product. Okay, so I'm sure. Okay, so just can you by raise of your hand tell me how many of you are from non-tech background? Non-tech background. So 2. Okay, so I knew this thing. So most of us are somehow engineer in some way, and some tends to be more on solution side than the problem side, and that's I think Ram the whole talk about the focus on the problem. I think whatever course you will go through, the design thinking or power thinking, all this thing, it will stress you, push you away from your left brain thinking to right brain thinking, and that's where I think this my talk is also. But I'm going to talk about more about a little bit my experience around the AI product. So these are a couple of products which I have actually handled in my past. So just to say that I've worked in some of these what you call AI product area, and just want to share my experience. And the core underlying topic of this thing is so there is a traditional way of doing product management. Okay, and then there is a little difference. I won't say too much of difference, but there is a little bit of difference from the normal way of what you call or traditional way of product management. Okay, so I'm just going to bring out some of the differences here. I have a big slide deck, but I think I won't have time. So but basically I divided my presentation into 2 pieces. One is I'm going to create the problem for you. Okay, why the AI product management is little different, and then second part I would have given you a few tips or how I have perceived it, how I have actually got to learn from other folks. Okay. But I think I'm going to go just half past. I'm going to share my slides with you. I might be doing a video on it. Maybe I'll share with you so you can just go through it. But I think if you go through the remaining part of it, tech part of it, I think it's self-explanatory. You can do it yourself. So, but I'll just bring out a particular question in your brain that you are going to be a product manager, and AI you can't you will. I'm sure most of you will be in some data engineer, maybe doing some AI product, or you will be forced to do it. I'm telling you, you will be untouched very soon in one way or another. Right? So, okay, so my talk is not about any AI. I'm not going to give you any basics of AI or any lecture on AI. No tech, no product management. You're going to learn a lot of product management here. Okay, so I'm not the right person to teach about the product management. Not product thinking. Okay. Not design thinking. You'll get a lot of classes here, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to focus on something, some thought. I'll just build some thought process in you, just so that you can have a lot of question brainstorming around it in the future. Okay, with your professor or whoever your colleagues. Okay, so I'm just bringing so just why AI product thinking is required. So you must have seen these a lot of AI products. You must have seen it, and then there is a lot of hype around it, and you might have read about a lot of issues with it also. So I'm just bringing out the issues why AI product is different. Okay, and these are some of the cases are there. So there is a chatbot from the Microsoft. it behaved very racist. Okay, you can see it whatever it's talking about. It is like it has been what you call like it has been trained on certain data. It has behaved according to that. Then there are some of the bot, it has corrupted it basically. It is corrupted. So there is a lot of the story, but so the moral of the story is it can go wrong. A product, AI product, which you defined it in a good lab, in a good right scenario, it can go wrong. Same thing with the Watson. Watson was, I think it has got a lot of hypes and all that, but it has failed to detect a lot of cancer cases. Start giving the false positive, and it has given a lot of bad names to anyway. IBM doctor abused this product big time, and it has been completely shitted out from the market itself. And the last one, I think you must have seen this one. This Uber, Uber self-driving car is a hit a cyclist actually, you were walking, and there is a story behind it. I'm sure you might have read through it. I don't want to go through it, but these are the things I just want to bring in, that your AI product can be biased, your AI product can be unexplainable why it fails, and it is untrustworthy. So it fails in certain scenario, it fails in certain critical scenario, it brings a lot of untrustworthy, and I don't trust it. So that's the problem you will deal very soon when you get into product management, and then you maybe in the area of the AI product development. I don't know how much you have seen this picture, but I just want to bring up a particular a view that how you can see your AI product in the space, So on the first picture is something which doesn't have an engine. So engine analogy. So some ship which doesn't have an engine, it runs just by the wind or by what you call you can do the sailing in the other way, or a boat boat ship other way. So that's the old way, maybe 200 years down the back. So now if you take it 100 years back, after the engine was invented in 1876, and I think they started putting an engine in the ship. So you had a two mechanism. So you go with the engine, how much ever you will have the diesel in your this thing, or how long it works. And otherwise, if it fails, you go back to your normal wind or whatever other mechanism. And the third one is basically it's completely transformed. So what it says the underlying meaning of it is something, the technology underneath, the system underneath, the production of the technology is so stabilized, so trustworthy, so stable that it has gone to that level that you can completely rely on it. So it is called engine first era. Okay, so your ship is completely on this thing. It is so reliable. You can just go thousands of miles just on the engine, and you without worrying about it. So that's the era. So it's basically kind of a maturity curve for any product. Okay, so this is a similar thing, but I'm just trying to portray a CRM system. Okay, CRM system. So general CRM system is on the one person okay, so let's think of as a chat system. You might have, I'm sure you have spoken to a lot of customer care folks to resolve your queries. So on one side you are talking to agent. It's a one-to-one chat, no confusion. Might take a lot of effort, might take a lot of explanation, might take a longer discussion. Okay. Then there is another thing is might have seen a lot of if you have dealt with a lot of ICICI bank or other bank, they immediately you start a question, you will know you're talking to a bot. And the moment you start asking little more sharper question, little more question, is say, let me bring somebody. Okay, so you start saying I'm handing over to somebody. Okay, so that's the second era, AI Insight. So it takes you to an FAQ stage. Okay, where it can actually on the question it can do pick out if some intent is there, it will connect to your answer from its own database on which it is trained on. Okay, so that's the second era. And the third era is where you are completely end-to-end talking to chatbot, and you've seen Alexa is one, Google Home is another one, and there are many more systems like this where the AI inside is there. They are closer to it. Okay, they may not be behaving perfectly, but they are there almost. Okay, so there is some text is missing here. Okay, because of the, I think the way Google interprets it. So I just wanted to bring out a difference between two systems. Okay, so on this left side there is a traditional system where you have input output. You have a computer and you have a logical program running. Okay, and so it behaves based on a logical program. Okay, so this is basically this system is unbiased because it's very logical. It's trustworthy. Okay, it's trustworthy and it's explainable. Okay, if something goes wrong, you can actually see it why it has gone on. You can look at the logs. It's going to be very deterministic system. So whatever it does, it has a fixed behavior, deterministic. So I think that's but in the AI system, it's a little different. Okay, AI system has a works in this input output. It has some internal program and it learns from the data. But it is untrustworthy. As I mentioned, why it is untrustworthy? It is unexplainable. Because if you have understood, these AI algorithms are having bigger issue of their explainability. Okay, and they are biased. Okay, biased because if your input data, if you are not cleaned it, it might give you a notion of bias, which you have seen in many other systems. Okay, so that's a stark difference. So, and other thing which I point out is you can see the input is little thicker and the input is little smaller. There is a reason for it, because in the AI system, so I'll explain what this mean is. But in the AI system, you tends to interact less than the old system. If your query which you were solving through a CRM, through a normal CRM system, you might have to write 10 chat, question answer. But with AI, you might be able to quickly get to the question, maybe in second time or third time. So you might be interacting less with it because system is doing more. So maybe my next slide. Okay, so I'll go to that slide which I have on this thing. So this is an AI product. Basically, whenever you think about a product, it's basically desirability, viability, and feasibility comes in. Okay, and on the feasibility part, you actually talk to your. Okay, so first thing you basically think about the viability. Your whatever problem you are trying to solve as a product manager, you need to think about how viable it is, how financially operational viable it is. Second thing, you should go with what kind of design it should have, what kind of interfaces, user experience, what will system you will build. And third thing is, then you'll talk to your AI engineer, boss, is this possible, or what can I do better? So this is a typical way of AI product engineering. Okay, so this is just to bring one point which Ram also mentioned, that as an engineer, we first think about this model. Okay, I was talking to very recently somebody, he's starting his company, and I was like, what is your product? He's talking about I'm doing something into like CNN to identify some objects in some fashion images. Okay, but he was not explaining me the problem, what he's trying to solve. Okay, so but it took me at least almost 10 questions to get to the point that he could explain me what is his product about. Okay, he's an investor of money and all those things. So I'm not saying that you will not succeed if you start thinking from here and then you go into the system. But it's good to see the whole system in proper slice. Okay, so when you talk about the user, you talk about the business problem. Okay, so never start. I would say this may be a focus, but the other layers are also a focus. So I think that's how you should look at it. Again, my few things are gone because of the way this Google Sheets interprets. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so in this thing, from the previous picture, I intentionally. So one thing which I removed is your engineering box, which I think we all love, but that box has to go. Okay, so that's what we call it in typical term, product thinking, and think in product, not in the features. So when you're thinking, product thinking is, it's about what user experience it will be, how the customer experience, and what product it is. Okay, so these are the two things you should focus. The other things I'll share the slides, you can look at it. And now I'm also keeping tab of time. So I'm just going to take you to the problem and then leave you, right? Okay, so this is another interesting slide. I don't know how many of you have seen it, but I think this will give you the segue of actually where I will go. Okay, so again, this is a system, and now there, as I was saying, in the traditional system is built it has a lot of input. This user has to give, then it has some feature, then it has a product and some technology. This is the pre-AI era. That's how the most of the system is. So to do as things, you might need to fill up a lot of forms. You might have to give a lot of information. Nothing used to be predictive. Nothing like, boss, I've given you my name so many times, I've given you my location at a certain place, at least locate me. There's so many other things you can figure it out, okay, from your past data, from your past experiences and all those things. So that used to be the era. And even the recommendation system, you might have seen, there's so many so many websites you go, there is no recommendation system. So every time you have to do search, it looks like as you have come first time. So those are the kind of systems those are. The second kind of system is like, where some bit of AI is there, but so you start seeing that like, user effort start going low, features start again shrinking, and the like, product, okay, it's not properly scaled, but that's how it is. So your user effort start going down if you see that thing, and your system start working more, and your features start going low. So these are the important aspect of it. Your journey from this thing is, so that's how your product thinking has to work. Okay, so your product, you're from the old era to the new era, your product has to become thicker, and your user experience has to become shrinker. Okay, your feature has to be very least. Okay, I have built a system which I deployed it to the Zendesk. It's called it's basically to resolve your query. Okay, so I've developed it almost 1.5 years back, deployed it. But you know that, right? These big large companies, they actually eat up some of the things which are really could align to them, or could be could be the next thing in this thing. So they also implement same thing. So my product kind of, that application kind of dissolved itself. But the idea was is like that, have a very small window, but it has a big engine behind it, very big engine, very huge pipelines which I built it. But the UI was very small. It was just it was recommending the next answer for the queries a customer has asked for. Okay, so that's the one thing. So what I really want to talk about is like, so in your product thinking, I want to talk about your user role. Okay, what role your user will play, UX, what kind of user experience you will have for your customer, and PM role, like as a PM, what kind of role, what kind of methodology, what kind of thinking process you should have. Okay, but yeah, tech role I'm not going to talk. So that's I think we are all good. So how much time I have? So I'm going to stop it here. But okay, just last slide, so that okay, again the previous slide. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so okay, so see, certainly the features. So if I say like, if in the chatbot thing, right? So okay, in the normal chatbot, you might have to explain, like if you're trying to resolve your last order, which didn't get delivered. So in the normal system, you might have to do a lot of you have to do a lot of explaining to get to that point. Okay, in this new system, what happens is your interaction will be low. Okay, in 2 or 3 times you will figure it out. Okay, and your features will be like, you will not be you will not be going to do the logging, you will not be providing a lot of I mean to say the order IDs and everything. So it will be all automatically will be generated within the system. So all your system correlation of your product, correlation of your previous transaction will automatically happen. Okay, so you will not be giving all that if it's a completely chatbot based system, right, you will not be having order tracking system, because the moment I enter in your system, you will start giving me all those what you call notions or the information within the chat. Okay, you don't need to have see what is this Alexa. Okay, does it have a UI? No. Does it? But it can let you book Uber, let you get a food, let you get to do so many things. You don't need to log in. So it has a very less feature. Only feature it has is like, you can just talk to it. That's the only feature. It has a feature is like, you ask for get me my food, book the night alarm, book a cab, Uber. It has so many things inside it. Okay, but its user interface is so less. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so it will interface features, yeah. So interface, what is out there, features are actually out there. What you do behind the scene, what kind of service you provide, that's the thing. So that's where your product. So whatever feature I'm talking about, like so booking a cab, booking an alarm, or booking for getting your food, that's a product features. Product. Actually, product features are like how you interface with it. Whether I need to do a click, whether I need to go some all these things. So interface is point of view. So those are the that's what I meant. Okay.
What I see from pre-AI to AI, but there's a definitely the value proposition of moving into AI from pre-AI. Definitely, the user experience has greatly enhanced.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yes,
Greatly enhanced, yes, but
greatly enhanced.
greatly enhanced, yes.
But from a business point of view, is there any other value proposition? Is the cost dramatically going down or the something else? Because I see
Yeah.
like previous chatbots, a lot of manual people will be there.
Yeah, so see, yeah, so okay, if you're talking about engineering cost, earlier you might be okay, so earlier you might be paying a lot of to the UX guys. In the new scenario, you might be paying a lot of to these guys. So as an engineer, you as a product, yeah,
The customer, yes, a lot of customer agents or
yeah. So those costs goes down. Your ref, yeah, certainly your.
over a longer period of 3-4 years, the cost OPEX cost is
Yeah, so if I just stay with the CRM system, right? In this thing, you might have an army of folks who are actually talking. In this case, you have no person, almost no person, so no FTE cost. So that way, you like if you're talking about that one, yeah. But your engineering cost certainly because your data science engineer are like they're really asking good money. Okay, whatever in pre-era UX guy used to ask. So your engineering cost might not go down, but your operation cost will be very low. But you might be paying to the Google for running your cloud stack and all that.
that talks about the job loss rate guys.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, surely. So yeah, that fear always stays there. But yeah, you can always talk about the happy side of it.
Second question is last question.
Okay, we can keep discussing.
We talk about you also talk about that as you train the AI more, it will the accuracy will be more accurate, right?
Yes,
Increase.
yes,
What will the what is the speed or the speed of the this,
maturity.
maturity?
Yeah,
Suppose we have say 10,000 users now, and say users are increasing say 15-20% month on month, something like that.
correct.
When do we think? So suppose the version of AI will improve say 2x or 3x. How that will increase?
Okay, so it has many dimensions. It has a dimension everywhere. So first of all, how you design your system. Okay, so learning piece you can do first of all implicit and explicit both. Okay, so don't always rely on explicit one because people are lazy. They don't want to press buttons, giving the feedback. Okay, so always try to find a mechanism to learn implicitly. Okay, so that's the one mechanism you should do it. Okay, second thing is so there are so basically what you have to do is it goes into the maturity curve. So it has it start giving you confidence level up and up. Okay, every time it learns, you retrain it, you remodel it, it start going up. That accuracy level has to go up, but it will never go 100%. It will be so if a system is good if it is somewhere around 98%, 95% area. If it's playing 90, okay, depends on scenario also. If it is a Uber car, you want to have 99.9999% that accuracy. But if it is a chatbot, you can have a 95% accuracy. So it depends on how mission critical it is. But it grows, and you should be smart to collect the data. So that's another thing which I want to discuss about how you think about designing the system, the customer and the user and the data, and how you actually design your system from the data point of view, from UX point of view. That you are capturing more data, you capturing implicit feedback, and actually improving the system constantly. But it takes time. There is no definite time. There is your smartness of your system of engineers, how sharp they are, and the more data, more feedback, and how quickly you turn it around, and how quickly you go up.
It also depends if two companies are building the same AI tool and
They
launching
can
at
have
the same time.
they can be
They can be very different.
depends. It depends. It's
How
a
engineers have put
yeah, yeah, smartness of the product manager. Smartness of a product manager. So I think in Google guys are super smart. I think so. Yeah. So that's the one peak of the engineers. Yeah, sure. We're done. I'm not going to go. So I will share. I have shared all my PPT. The other part you can go through on your own. It's not this thing. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
you guys would have the right session now. Like those of you who are interested, you have the take a break or else we will start. We have three coordinates. Please start. Start.